Good day. Today we're going to be looking at one of Shakespeare's sonnets, simply known as Sonnet 138. So I'm going to start by reading the sonnet and then we'll try to do some kind of analysis. Please bear with me. Line 1 begins, "When my love swears that she's made of truth, I do believe her, though I know she lies, that she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties, and thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, although she knows my days are past the best. Simply I credit her false-speaking tongue. On both sides thus is simple truth suppressed. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? And wherefore say not I that I am old? Love's best habit is in seeming trust, and age in love loves not to have years told. Therefore I lie with her, and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be." Just 14 lines, so it's not too long. Now, the essence of this poem is simply about Shakespeare's relationship with the dark lady. Now, there is quite a bit of uncertainty as to who the dark lady is, and certain schools of thought seem to think that maybe she was of Greek or Macedonian descent and she had dark hair and, by Caucasian standards, a darker skin. The poem, in essence, also deals with the speaker's insecurities about growing older. And what we're going to see is that his fling with his mistress, this dark lady, his fling with the mistress it's very uncomplicated. It is just a practical thing. It's beneficial to both of them as it fulfills his basic sexual needs, and at the same time it reassures him that he is worthy of love despite being old. And so from the very beginning we are going to get a sense that Shakespeare is much older than this dark lady who he is clearly in an illicit relationship with. And so he starts off by saying, "When my love swears that she is made of truth." In other words, when she promises him that she is faithful, he says, "I do believe her, though I know she lies." And I want to emphasize do believe, and I want to emphasize no. When he says I do believe, it gives the feeling that he chooses to believe her. Not that he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that she's telling the truth, but he chooses to believe it because it's less complicated, it's less problematic that way. And then he says, "Though I know she lies." And we hear the tone is quite confident when he says, "I know she lies." And it makes me think that he obviously has evidence to support his knowledge. So he is under no illusions about her character. As an older man, being worldly wise, he knows that this woman is maybe not only seeing him. So he says, "I do believe her, though I know she lies." And there's a play on the word lies, okay? I think it's quite ambiguous. In the first instance, when "I know she lies," meaning I know she tells lies. And then also when he says, I know she lies, meaning I know that she lies with other men, laying in bed, and quite clearly sexual there. And then he says, that she might think me some untutored youth. So she doesn't really respect him that much. She treats him as a young boy, as a naive boy. But she is aware that he isn't young, and he definitely is not simple. that she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties. Thus vainly she thinks me young. And I think that almost goes together, because the speaker allows the misconception to carry on. And why does he allow it to carry on? Because it's as if he's okay with her thinking that he is the foolish one. Because when she says, thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, she seems to think that not that he's young chronologically, but the idea of youth is synonymous with being foolish, with being unwise. Okay, so I don't know if you're quite getting what I'm trying to say here. So let me just go over that. Thus, so that she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtlety. So she thinks he's quite naive. He doesn't really know what's happening, but we know he is quite worldly wise because of his age, because we hope that with age comes maturity. And then he says, thus vainly, which means wrongly, thinking that she thinks me young. So she thinks he's young. She thinks he is foolish. She thinks he is naive. She thinks he is almost gullible and taken in by her actions. Although she knows my days are past the best. In other words, she is aware that I'm not young. She is aware my best days are when I was young. Now I'm older. My best days are gone. And because of that, I'm older, I'm mature, I am knowledgeable. Okay? Simply I credit her false speaking tongue. And then we have the colon, which is followed with a detailed explanation. Simply I credit her false speaking tongue. False speaking tongue is very much aware that she is telling lies. And I think what is important to note here is that the speaker is emotionally detached from her. And the reason why I say I think he is detached is because he is able to ignore her lies and her cheating. If you really love someone and they lie to you, you take that to heart. It really, as the teenagers say, you get touched, by her lies and her cheating. But it's almost like it doesn't bother him. Why does it not bother him? Because emotionally he is not that invested in her. Okay, and that again confirms what we were saying earlier in our essence of the poem, that the relationship is mutually beneficial. It is very uncomplicated. Feelings are on the back burner. So when he says simply I credit a false speaking tongue, he doesn't expect much from her. On both sides, thus is simple truth suppressed. Does that not sound like a convenient arrangement, an arrangement of convenience? I think line 8 probably sums up our sonnet. It sums up their relationship. On both sides is simple truth suppressed. And I think that this is quite ironic, because it sounds as if she thinks she's deceiving him, but clearly on some level he is also deceiving her, and he is comforted by the fact that he's not being fooled by her. Okay, even though there is this pretense of loyalty. I think we can use the phrase mutual deception. In line 9, but contradiction with what has gone before. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? So it bothers the speaker. It nags away at him that she is dishonest about her infidelity. it bothers. I think he would probably appreciate it if they could both be upfront and they could both say to each other, listen, man, you're not the only person that I am seeing. And I think you'd agree with me, it takes quite a bit of maturity to reach that level, and clearly they are not on this level. So he says, but why doesn't she just tell me that she's unfaithful? And because he's much older, I get the impression that she is seeing him, and she's probably seeing him, someone her age as well. Okay? And wherefore say not I that I am old? So this is the part of he's lying to her. Okay? So he blames himself for not facing his weakness. And what is his weakness? Not so much his obsession, but the realization that he's much older than her. And I think with age comes its own issues. And that's what he's not facing up to. And wherefore say not I that I am old? Oh, love's best habit. Habit, Old English for your outfit. And here the outfit, think your outfit, it's on the outside, it's outward. So when he says, oh, love's best habit, he means the appearance. And he says, love's best appearance is in seeming. The word seeming is almost like alleged trust. So he says that love's appearance is in pretending to be in love. The relationship, people, is fake. They're together in a sexually beneficial relationship, but the love part, it is entirely fake. Love's best habit is in seeming trust and age in love, not to have years told. So now here he's talking about older lovers. And this is the part where he tells us that their relationship is meaningless. He says, can I just repeat that again? And age in love, not to have years told. Meaning that older lovers do not like to have their age pointed out. For someone like myself, age is fluid. There are days when I'm 32, there are days when I'm 35. It's a fluid thing. On a bad day, I may even reach 40. Age is fluid. So he says, and age in love loves not to have years old. I don't want to be reminded of the fact that I'm so old. Then we reach our last two lines which go together. And he says, therefore, I lie with her and she with me. Okay. And I just thought of something that I just want to add to the previous two, line 12, when he says about, I'm just thinking now, when he says, age in love, not to have years told. Doesn't that sound as if he's quite conceited? He's quite vain. He doesn't want to be reminded of his age. Why do I pretend that I'm still 35? One doesn't want to be reminded of one's growing age. And so then in line 13, therefore I lie with her and she with me. So they remain together for reasons. And of course, it's a pun on the word lie. One, they are comfortable with one another's lies. Maybe they've been together for quite a while, and so you just grow comfortable in that relationship. And then secondly, again talking about the sexual relationship, therefore I lie with her and she with me. I sleep with her and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be. And so what he's saying there is that the lies they tell each other help them to forget the faults that they each have. And so the main idea in this very brief poem, the main idea is one of lust, but it's hidden in a very twisted presentation of humor, I suppose we could say. So he will continue to believe in her lies even as she continues to flatter him that he is young. But the reality is that she's very much aware that he is becoming an old man. And I think it's safe to say that the future of this relationship is doomed. Why do I say it is doomed? Because the lies that they tell each other is only going to bring temporary relief from their shortcomings. I don't think they will be able to keep up this beneficial relationship for long. The fact that he is emotionally detached, the fact that he is aware that he's getting so much older, which I think actually helps to grow the gap between them, which is definitely growing. And so I think it's safe to say that the tone of this sonnet is disillusioned. There's that sense of reality, but I think towards the end, in those last two lines, there is that sadness that comes through. That rhyming couplet, the tone, therefore I lie with her and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be. And the lies we tell each other help us to forget our faults. And a relationship of convenience, mutually beneficial, but definitely destined to failure. And that grade 10 is Sonnet 138 by William Shakespeare.